Located at the border of the Sariska Tiger Reserve in the Alwar district of Rajasthan, Bhangarh Fort is a 17th-century fort, infamous all over India for being the most haunted place in India. Because of the numerous ghostly experiences and happenings in the fort premises, villages have sprung up far away from the fort, due to the fear of what lies within. Even the Archaeological Survey of India, or the ASI, has forbidden the locals and tourists from entering the fort at night. This completely ruined, haunted fort of Bhangarh does have a very eerie, negative aura to it. Several legends have attested to the paranormal happenings inside the fort. Bhangarh Fort story and history. The history of the fort dates back to centuries. Built in the 17th century in Rajasthan, the Bhangarh Fort is an ancient specimen. It was believed to have been erected by Man Singh I, one of the Navratnas of Akbar's court, for his son Madho Singh I. There are always two sides to the story of the Bhangarh Fort, Rajasthan, haunted for generations. Let me relate the story first. The two sides can wait for some time. Bhangarh Fort haunted stories and incidents. Coming back to the dual facets, there are two stories of Bhangarh Fort still surviving in the form of legends, which have tried to give a meaning to the eerie atmosphere which surrounds the haunted fort of Bhangarh. Let's read more about the Bhangarh Fort ghost. Bhangarh Fort Haunted Story 1, A Place Lost in the Shade. The first legend claims that a king named Madho Singh razed the Bhangarh Fort after obtaining due permission from an ascetic named Bala Nath who lived there, having agreed to a condition which said that the shadow of the fort must never fall upon the home of the ascetic. But as fate would have it, one of the ambitious successors of Madho Singh added to the fortifications vertically, thereby causing its ominous shadow to engulf the abode of the ascetic. Lo and behold, once it came to pass, the fort was doomed within no time. The alleged prophecy stood fulfilled, and the Bhangarh Fort became haunted. Bhangarh Fort Haunted Story 2, A Place Caught in a Limbo. Coming back to the dual facets, there are two stories of Bhangarh Fort still surviving in the form of legends, which have tried to give a meaning to the eerie atmosphere which surrounds the haunted fort of Bhangarh. Let's read more about the Bhangarh Fort ghost. Bhangarh Fort Haunted Story 1, A Place Lost in the Shade. The first legend claims that a king named Madho Singh razed the Bhangarh Fort after obtaining due permission from an ascetic named Bala Nath who lived there, having agreed to a condition which said that the shadow of the fort must never fall upon the home of the ascetic. But as fate would have it, one of the ambitious successors of Madho Singh added to the fortifications vertically, thereby causing its ominous shadow to engulf the abode of the ascetic. Lo and behold, once it came to pass, the fort was doomed within no time. The alleged prophecy stood fulfilled, and the Bhangarh Fort became haunted. Bhangarh Fort Haunted Story 2, A Place Caught in a Limbo. A second legend behind the Bhangarh Fort haunted, more popular than the first one, claims that Princess Ratnavati of Bhangarh was responsible for the apocalyptic situation which befell the fort. A local black magician fell in love with her. The princess is believed to have been very beautiful, and once tried to bewitch a cosmetic she was supposed to use to make her fall in love with him. The princess smelled suspicion and foiled the entire conspiracy of the black magician by pouring the bewitched cosmetic over a massive stone boulder, which then supposedly crushed the tantric to death. Before the magician breathed his last, he placed a curse upon the entire landscape that no soul would ever be able to live in peace there. The whole landscape around the Bhangarh Fort has been haunted since. The Bhangarh Fort haunted is like other forts in Rajasthan, and is surprisingly well preserved. Its ramparts and fortifications stand amidst the ruins of the ghost town by the same name. Legends have it that the fort and the surrounding establishments around it once buzzed with life. Then something happened along with a chain of other unfortunate incidents which led to the doom of the place within a concise period. Bhangarh Fort at night. No one is allowed to enter the fort after sunset or before sunrise. The entire landscape is subsumed by a pall of gloom and a chilling hollowness once the last ray of sunlight bids adieu until its arrival the next morning. There are many local tales about the paranormal activities in the fort. It depends on a person whether he would believe it or not. It is said that the spirits roam in Bhangarh Fort at night and various strange noises are heard. Also, as it is said, anyone who enters the fort at night would not be able to return in the morning. One always feels as if their movements are being watched, and the air is charged with a dizzying heaviness. A board put up by the Archaeological Survey of India cautions the visitors not to venture within the premises of the fort during the dark hours. The haunted fort of Bhangarh has had several stories associated with it. Believing one of them is akin to believing that the fort indeed is haunted, and this is a tale that has been in circulation for years. There is evidence to support the claim of those who say that those tried their luck either went missing or weren't able to explain anything coherently. You might say that the entire episodes were mere figments of imagination by ruminating minds, but the fact remains a fact. The brighter side: the fort is situated at the edge of a lusciously green expanse of Sariska Tiger Reserve between Alwar and Jaipur and is not very far away from Delhi either. The fort was clearly modeled upon the medieval city of Shahjahanabad, with 4 massive wooden gates in every direction. The precincts of the fort have ornately carved a miniature waterfall and temples which lend an air of tranquility to the place during the better part of the day. The remnants of some palaces within the fort are clear indicators of the fort's prosperity during its heyday. The fort would have been a tourist hotspot for its serene atmosphere during the day and the architectural marvel that the fort is. And as a matter of fact, it is. It is a tourist attraction, and it does attract hordes of tourists during the day, but for all the wrong reasons. Local folks would have you believe that no one dares to build a house with a roof in the vicinity of the fort. The roof collapses shortly after being made. How to reach Bhangarh Fort. Bhangarh Fort from Alwar. The nearest town to Bhangarh is Alwar in Rajasthan. The distance from Alwar to Bhangarh is about 90 kilometers, for which taxis and buses are available from Alwar. Alwar Tourism. Bhangarh Fort from Delhi. Bhangarh is located around 269 kilometers from Delhi via Nimrana route and 242 kilometers via Alwar route. Alwar route, even though shorter, takes longer time slightly because of the road conditions. From Delhi, one should consider the NH8 route and head straight and continue even after Nimrana and take the NH11A. Drive on NH11A for around 50 kilometers and then take the Rajasthan State Highway SH55 for another 20 kilometers to reach the destination. Overall, Bhangarh takes about 4 to 5 hours of driving from Delhi. On return, you can come via Alwar and stay back there. Explore the Sariska Tiger Reserve and Alwar Fort on the next day and be back in Delhi by evening. Delhi Tourism. Bhangarh Fort from Jaipur. Bhangarh Fort is just 83 kilometers from Jaipur, and it is an excellent place to go for a day trip with friends. Take the NH11 and continue on to Agra Road. From DUSA, take the New Hampshire 11A and continue for about 15 kilometers. From there, take the SH55, and you can reach the destination. Overall, it won't take you more than 2 hours from Jaipur to reach Bhangarh Fort. It will be an enjoyable trip knowing the haunted stories of Bhangarh. Try to talk to locals and see if they can recite the haunted story in Hindi.